Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the July 2023 SBIF District Rollout. We'll be getting started here in just a moment. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to enter them in the Q&A chat box on your screen. Additionally, everybody participating today will receive an email with a copy of the presentation. We'll get started in just a moment. Again, good afternoon. My name is Kim Brisky, and I am with Summer Corps, the administrator of the SBIF program on behalf of the City of Chicago. Welcome today to the July 2023 SBIF District Rollout. Before we get started, just a reminder, any questions can go in the Q&A box on the top of your screen, and everybody listening today will get a follow-up email with a copy of the presentation. Before we get started today, I'm actually going to turn it over to Nora Curry with the Department of Planning and Development for some introductory remarks. Nora?
Thank you, Kim, and hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. As Kim said, my name is Nora Curry. I'm the Program Director for the City of Chicago, Department of Planning and Development, and we're really happy to have you with us today. And another representative from the city's SBIF administrator, Summer Corps, will be making our presentation today, but I wanted to welcome you here before we get started. The Small Business Improvement Fund, known as SBIF, provides grants to small businesses and property owners to make needed improvements to their properties. Over the last few years, we've made a lot of exciting changes to the SBIF program, including increasing the size of the grants we can offer, and we more than doubled the amount of funding available citywide. Since 2020, the City Council has authorized over $100 million in new funding for SBIF rollouts all over the City of Chicago. In addition to the available funding, SBIF offers technical assistance from Summer Corps and from your local delegate agencies. When you submit your application, you'll be assigned a Summer Corps project manager, and that person is there to help you through the SBIF process. If you run into any issues that are going to delay your project and make you miss your deadlines, call your Summer Corps project manager immediately. They may be able to help you solve the problem. They certainly can help you with extensions or other issues. Another great resource, as I said, is your local delegate agency. That's your local Chamber of Commerce or the local Community Development Corporation, who may have told you about this webinar today. Latanya will talk about them later in the presentation. Again, they're here to help you. They often can help you with the application itself, with the different paperwork you'll need to submit. They might have introductions, referrals for local lenders, help with the permit process. They might know contractors who can help with SBIF and have experience with our processes. So what I'm trying to say is we're all here to help support your application because we want to see your businesses and your projects succeed and your neighborhoods flourish. And with that, I'm happy to introduce you to Latanya Jones, who is here to talk more about the program. And thank you.
Thank you again, Nora. Again, my name is Latanya Jones. I am the Deputy Program Director of the Small Business Improvement Fund Grant Program. I work for Summer Corps, which is a certified small business lender. We administer 504 loans, as well as the City of Chicago's SBIF program and the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund program. Thank you again for joining us today. Let's get started with the presentation. Today, we will be discussing the eligibility requirements of the program and what you can expect going through this process. Here is an overview of what we will be discussing today during the presentation. We will explain what the SBIF program is about, how you can determine if your business or property is located in a SBIF district, which districts are open and on deck, the program rules, how you can go about applying and what does the program timeline look like, and what resources are available to help you. Provide you with information on the July rollouts with an example project. Cover the frequently asked questions and conclude with any additional questions and answers. Since 1999, the SBIF program has been helping small businesses and landlords with reimbursable grants to assist with permanent building improvements. Please note that residential projects are not eligible through this program. The SBIF grant uses tax increment financing revenue to reimburse grantees for the pre-approved repair and rehab of their business facilities or adjacent land acquisitions. Please note that this grant does not cover working capital or operation expenses. It is specifically for structural related repairs. Summer Court is the program administrator contracted by the city's Department Planning and Development. Grant parameters. Eligible applicants must have a property located in the SBIF district where SBIF funds are available and the district is authorized to accept applications. Eligible applicants can include landlords of a commercial or industrial property, commercial or industrial business owners who either own or lease their place of business. Tenants are eligible with prior written approval from the property owner, as well as startup businesses are eligible, but they must provide us with a business plan, and a Chicago business license will be required prior to final disbursement. In regards to eligibility limits, depending on the requirements as an applicant, will determine the eligible limits that you fall within. For a commercial tenant or owner occupied applicant, the average gross sales must be less than 9 million per year. For a landlord of a commercial or industrial property, the net worth must be less than 9 million, and this is cumulative amongst all owners, and each individual must fall under the 500,000 in liquid assets maximum. If one individual exceeds the 500,000 liquidity requirement, your application will not be eligible for the program. For an industrial tenant or owner occupied applicant, you must have 200 or less full-time employees. Please note that if your business and the property, if you own the business and the property, you are subject to both the tenant and landlord requirements. The maximum grant amount allowed under SBIF are $250,000 per industrial property, $150,000 per single owner or tenant of a commercial property or a landlord, $250,000 for a multi-tenant property, with the understanding that each tenant and landlord is eligible to receive a maximum of $75,000. Please note that applicants may receive one or more grants up to the maximum program assistance. Once the maximum is reached, the applicant will need to wait 3 years before reapplying. The percentage of eligible project costs can be reimbursed if your business sales or net worth falls between 0 to 3 million. You will be eligible to receive 90% reimbursement of the eligible costs. If the average sales falls within 3 to 6 million, you will be eligible to receive 60% reimbursement. If the average sales fall within 6 to 9 million, you are eligible to receive 30% reimbursement. And for all industrial projects, you will be eligible to receive 50% reimbursement of the eligible costs. To better help you understand the calculation of this program, here is a SBIF grant calculation example. Grace submits an application for a SBIF grant in an open district with a total eligible project cost of $100,000. She is proposing to make permanent building improvements to her existing retail shop, for which she is the tenant. Grace has been in business for 5 years, and over the last 3 years, her gross sales averaged at 1.5 million. The breakdown of the eligible cost is as follows. The total eligible cost for the project is at 100,000. Since she is the commercial tenant applicant and her gross sales is under 3 million, she is eligible to receive 90% reimbursement. So this leads to the city's responsibility at 90%, which is 90,000, and the applicant's responsibility is at 10%, which equals the 10,000. In order to determine if your business or property is located in a SBIF district, please visit our website at summercore.com/SBIF for assistance. Once you get to the website, you will scroll down to the bottom where you see Get Started and select number 1. This will take you to the SBIF Locator tool where you can enter your property address at the top. Once you enter your address, you will know if your property is eligible. It will provide you with the name of the SBIF district of where your property is located and when that district is scheduled to open for new applications. It will also provide you with a list of local delegate agencies for your area that can assist you. Eligible SBIF districts in Chicago span across neighborhoods on the north, south, and west sides. Each month marks a new 30-day period in which SBIF districts with available funds open for applications. Notice of districts opening are provided to the relevant aldermen, posted on DPD's and Summer Corps' website, and included in the monthly SBIFgram. Please visit our website to obtain a list of open upcoming districts by selecting number 2 where it says check which districts are open. And that link will take you to the list of the most up-to-date list of open and on-deck SBIF districts. Which business and organization types are ineligible to apply? This will consist of chains and franchises, branch banks, pawn shops, liquor stores, nightclub, adult uses, places of worship, junkyards, smoke shops, not-for-profit social clubs, organizations that have a national affiliation or similar uses. Please note that this is not a comprehensive list, but just to give you an idea of the type of businesses that would not be eligible to apply. If you're unclear about your business type, please feel free to reach out to us. What type of improvements are eligible for SBIF funding? This would include roofing and facade improvements, components of the signage and awning, which are permanently affixed to the building, ADA compliant improvements such as railings and/or ramps, HVAC and other mechanical systems, plumbing and electrical work, certain project-related architectural and construction management fees as it relates to the project, certain environmental remediation measures, permanent interior renovations, including fixtures, purchase of adjacent land parcels for the purpose of expanding your business or for parking, And again, this is not a comprehensive list. So if you are unsure about what type of work is eligible, you can definitely feel free to reach out to us. What improvements costs are ineligible for SBIF funding? This would include new construction, any standalone minor repairs or cosmetic improvements, equipment-related expenses such as kitchen appliances, computers, or office fixed furniture, planters surrounding or affixed to the building, outdoor dining or drinking areas, fencing, pergolas, privacy screens, or similar uses, parking lot construction or repairs, landscaping or interior work for residential units. What are the SBIF design requirements? In order to receive funding, projects must conform to design requirements, including meeting DPD's design guidelines, which can be found on our website. Projects shall also comply with the design guidelines and additional neighborhood requirements as described in guidelines, style guides, community plans, and other planning documents associated with the TIF area and the neighborhood in which the property is located. Applicants are strongly advised to consult with Summer Corps and design professionals on design requirements and guidelines before drawing up plans for work. All applicants for commercial properties who are approved for a grant of $25,000 or more shall be required to make at least one exterior improvement using at least 10% of the maximum amount of their approved grant, including not limited to facade repairs, windows and doors, and other exterior improvements eligible, subject to DPD's approval. This requirement can be waived at DPD's sole discretion if the applicant does demonstrate to DPD's satisfaction that no exterior improvements are needed because the improvements have been recently completed or the exterior features of the building have been well maintained and are consistent with the design guidelines. What measures are in place to ensure applicant compliance with program rules? Checks will be performed on all applicants during the approval stage to ensure they are not indebted to the city. They are current on property taxes and comply with child support laws. If any scofflaw debt or delinquent child support payments cleared with the city of Chicago through a payment plan must be in compliance before any reimbursement will be made for eligible costs incurred. Also, you must be current on property taxes prior to reimbursement. Each applicant will sign an economic disclosure affidavit. Grantees will be required to sign an affidavit certifying that they will not relocate out of the TIF district or sell the business within a 3-year period following the disbursement of funds. In cases of SBIF reimbursement for land purchase, proof of land ownership will be required before reimbursement may be made. How do I apply? You can download a copy of the SBIF application from our website. To apply, you must complete the application and submit via email to SBIF@summercorps.com within the designated open period. Once you get to the website, you will click the white link here, which will take you to the PDF version of the application, where you can complete the application by hand or you can type in your information. What is the program timeline? In the first stage, you will be given 20 days to provide the requested information needed to complete your application to determine eligibility. Once you are deemed eligible, you are moved into stage 2, where you would have 120 days to provide us with the plans, bids, and scope of your project and cure of any city debt. If you are to provide us with the plans, bids, if you are aware of any city debt, please ensure to take care of it as soon as you can. Please note that stage 1 and 2 must be completed before final review and project approval by DPD. If approved, you will receive a conditional commitment letter signaling you are able to begin construction. Once you begin construction, you will move into stage 3, where you will be given up to 10 months to complete your project. Proof of permit or submitted permit application, which is concurrent with the 10-month construction phase, must be submitted within 120 days following the date of the commitment letter. Also, the applicant must provide proof of sufficient funds to complete the project, which is concurrent to the 10 months and submitted within 120 days of the date of the commitment letter. The applicant must prove that they currently have sufficient equity to complete the project by providing at least 50% of the funds needed to cover the total project costs. Once the project is completed, you will move into stage 4, which usually takes 4 to 6 weeks from when your reimbursement request is sent over to the city for processing. We will inform you of when your funds are available and provide you with closing documents to complete. Please understand that unless DPD has granted an extension of time, applicants who do not complete each stage within the required phase time limit will be disqualified. A maximum of 2 extensions may be granted with DPD's approval in the case of an unavoidable delay due to extraordinary circumstances. DPD, not Summer Corps, also may, on a case-by-case basis, grant a grant eligible application an additional amount of time to complete any program requirement. In such case, DPD shall have discretion to determine the appropriate length of the extension. What is required to deem a project completed and receive grant funds? Once the project is completed, you will be required to provide Summer Corps with proof of payment documentation for review, which consists of the sworn statements, invoices, copies of canceled checks, and waiver of liens. Summer Corps will complete a final site visit to confirm that the project is completed, and you are required to submit copies of the building permits. Then that information is submitted to the city for processing, which takes 4 to 6 weeks, and the grant payment will be received by check. What resources are available to help? You can visit our website to access resources that may help you through the SBIF program. We have a list of resources that include lenders, contractors, technical assistant providers, and small business resources that can help you as a tool through this process. Please get to know your local delegate agencies. These organizations are assigned to assist small business owners in the SBIF districts opening this month. You may be familiar with these organizations. If not, please reach out to them, introduce yourself, and let them know your plans with the SBIF program, and they should be able to assist you accordingly. For the July open SBIF districts, we are accepting applications starting today until August 1st at 5 p.m. The districts that are open for new applications are Avondale, Devon Sheridan, Hollywood Sheridan, Peterson and Pulaski, and West Urban Park. Please be advised, applications for these areas will not be accepted after 5 p.m. on August 1st. When you send us an application via email, please allow 2 business days for Summer Corps to confirm receipt of your application via an email response. If you do not receive an email confirmation within those 2 business days, please send us a follow-up message or call us at 312-360-3300. Also, applicants are responsible for making sure submissions are received within the open acceptance period. Here is a sample project that was completed by Pintoko Gourmet. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Located at 4315 North Central Avenue within the West Urban Park TIF District. As you can see, the applicant completed facade improvements, including masonry and storefront work, rough carpentry and finishes, HVAC work, electrical and plumbing improvements, and the installation of a commercial kitchen exhaust system, along with architectural fees. What additional documents should I have on hand to submit along with my SBIF application? Here is a list of documents that we will be requesting from you in order to complete your application. Please note that these documents are not required to submit along with your initial application form. We will want to give you an idea of the required documents we will request from you pending the type of applicant you are. This would include business tax returns, proof of ownership, economic disclosure statement, personal financial statement, affidavit of child support form, the principal profile form, jobs created and retained survey. For startup businesses, we require a business plan along with the 3-year projections of the income and expenses, an executed leasing agreement, an affidavit or certification of the property owner, an affidavit of full-time equivalent employees, along with copies of tenant leases. What are the financial requirements to participate in the SBIF program? The SBIF grant is a reimbursable grant, so project participants should be prepared with financing to support the permanent building improvements. Proof of financing is not required until stage 3, but applicants are encouraged to contact their business lender or reach out to one of the lenders listed on the Summer Corps' website in a timely manner. Grantees may choose to complete their project in phases rather than requiring 100% of the upfront costs of the project. Applicants will receive an approval for the full scope of the work, and construction will be completed based on necessity and contractors' recommendations. The phase disbursement will be based on progress or completion of eligible construction work. For example, an applicant approved to complete a roof tear-off, HVAC system upgrades, and the installation of a new storefront system under one application can complete the work in phases. Once the roofing work is completed and proper paperwork is submitted, the applicant can be reimbursed for the work and use those funds to address the HVAC upgrades. Then repeat the process to being reimbursed for the work and use those funds for the storefront upgrades. Are startups and new businesses eligible? Yes, most startups can apply. Startup applicants will need to supply a detailed business plan and projections of the business's income and expenses for the first 36 months of operation as part of their application materials. The City of Chicago reserves the right to impose additional conditions for funding in connection with startup business applications. If you are only in business for 1 or 2 years, Summer Core requires tax returns and a projection of gross sales to equal 3 years of data. Please note that bars, taverns, hotels, and motel applicants must have held an applicable license and have been in business for at least 1 calendar year. Am I eligible if I live outside of Chicago? The important consideration is where you have your business and/or property. To participate in SBIF, your property must be located in the City of Chicago, as funding sources come from the City of Chicago's property taxes. If you live in another area, please call your city's planning, economic development, or community development department to see what programs they may have available to assist small businesses. What if my building has both business and residential spaces? The program is primarily for business use, but there are mixed use exceptions. For these buildings, many envelope projects such as roofing, facade improvements, and tuck pointing can be eligible. Will there be enough SBIF funds for all applicants? Each tax increment financing district has the SBIF program authorized in it, has limited funds reserved for the program. If the demand for the SBIF funds is greater than the available funding supply, then a lottery will be conducted to determine the order in which each grant application may be accommodated. If any surplus funds become available, they will be allocated to waitlisted applicants. Applicants for a property located in an Invest Southwest corridor shall be given priority for funding in the lottery. Applicants for a property located in a target corridor shall be second in priority for funding in the lottery. The remaining applicants shall be provided funding if available and placed on the wait list. If applicable, after applicants in the Invest Southwest corridors and the target corridors. Can SBIF be used with other City of Chicago grant programs? No. SBIF cannot be used at the same time as a Neighborhood Opportunity Fund or Chicago Recovery Plan grant on the same project covering the same work. However, you may apply for multiple grants at the same time and select the best one fit for your project, provided you stay within the grant timeline requirements. Is there SBIF funding available in my district? Every SBIF area has its own budget that the city refills if it has TIF funds available, and if there is a demonstrated need for more grant money. Email the Summer Corps team at SBIF@summercorps.com to see if there are funds available in your SBIF area. We also maintain an interested party list for funds, which you can also send us an email in order to join. When more funds become available or the city allocates more funds, we will be able to let you know. The interested party list also helps the city of Chicago gauge demand for additional funding. What if I am in a TIF and not in a SBIF? The tax increment financing is the mechanism that funds the SBIF program. If you are in a TIF district that does not have a SBIF, please reach out to your alderman. Here's the contact list for our SBIF department and the program director at the Department of Planning and Development, Nora Curry. And at this time, this does conclude our SBIF presentation. I would like to thank everyone for attending, and those who are joining the webinar today will receive a link of today's presentation.
Thanks so much, LaTanya. And I just want to invite anybody here who has questions that weren't answered, please do put them in the Q&A box, and we're happy to discuss those now. LaTanya, I was hoping we could start out with one sort of general question, which was, what are some of the most common challenges that you see for applicants, and what would you recommend doing to really make the process more smoother for them?
I would definitely say the most challenging things with this is just being able to have the proper financing to do the project. You said just one thing, right, Kim?
As many as you like, actually.
Okay. I would definitely say financing is one, and communicating is another, as well as on top of just staying on top of your deadlines. Because like, we want to make sure that you're successful in the program, and for us to know exactly where you are, if there's any concerns or any issues along the way, it's helpful to communicate that with us so that we can help you get to the finish line quicker. When it comes to financing, I think if you don't have the proper funding set up, I think it's best to start now to get in communications with your lender or finding the appropriate lender that can assist you, so that you don't have to wait until you get approved to find that financing, since it does take quite a bit of time to get processed.
I appreciate that. Somebody was seeking clarification. Are nonprofits eligible to participate in the SBIF program?
Not-for-profits are eligible to apply. We will still request information like tax returns from you all, just to get an idea of, how you all operate, but not-for-profits are eligible.
I appreciate that. There was also another thing for clarification. Somebody was saying that they had recently actually done some work in their space and wanted to know if they could get reimbursed for that work that they did.
So unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to retroactively reimburse you for work that's already been completed. You would have to go through the steps of the SBIF program, provide us with the requested documentation, obtain official approval before you can start construction.
That's helpful. Let's see. So someone said that they currently rent out of their commercial building to a hair salon, and they want to open up a restaurant and have blueprints for this. So I think that they're wondering if they could actually potentially use the SBIF program to help fund, I guess, the creation of the restaurant. Would that be something, a build out of a restaurant, would that be eligible for SBIF?
Yes, that would be eligible as well.
Okay, I'm just looking to see if I have any other questions that have come through. And I think you clarified again that for folks that, because there are a lot of grant programs out there, that at this time, using multiple grant programs is not at the same time for the same work is not going to be eligible for SBIF funding. I think too, can you talk a little bit about site control, what that means and how that plays into the SBIF application?
Sure. So in order to be eligible for the program, we have to know where your business or property is located. And with that, we also would need, once the district closes and we request additional documents pertaining to that business or property, we will need proof of ownership, whether that's a lease or a copy of the deed. We will need it within that 20-day period to determine your eligibility. If you don't have site control of the property, whether through property ownership or through a leasing agreement, we wouldn't be able to proceed with the application.
Okay, another question, I think more from the landlord side, if you are wanting to participate, do you have to already have a tenant in there and ready to go, or could you actually start the work with a tenant in mind? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So you do not have to have a tenant actively operating in the space. We do accept applications for landlords for vacant properties. However, we will need to know, like, what are your ideas for what type of business you're leasing to, just to make sure that it's eligible. But ultimately, the space will need to be leased up after, you're approved, you complete the project. You will need to have the space leased up before requesting a reimbursement.
Got it. So to clarify that as a landlord, you don't necessarily have to have a tenant secured in the beginning, but you will need to have that secured to be able to have reimbursement.
Yeah.
So somebody was asking about, so if you own land and you wanted to actually do ground up construction, I know that's not eligible with the SBIF program. However, if somebody wants to send a note to spiff@summercore.com, we're happy to connect them with other resources that can help with ground up construction. This could be potentially the 504 loan that we also operate, as well as the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund program. So if that was your questions, spiff@summercore.com, we can connect you with those additional resources. Let's see. So I think somebody asked if they're renting the property and they haven't employed anyone. I think, I'm not sure, I think the key here is that it's a business operating in the space. It's less about how many employees necessarily that you have. If you are, for example, a business owner and you're a sole proprietor, but you do have a brick and mortar location, is that okay? Or do you need to have a certain number of employees on site?
That would be okay. I think the only time that we really focus on the number of employees is if you're an industrial business, where we look at how many full-time employees you have to determine the eligibility. But if you're just like a sole proprietor within a brick and mortar, it does not affect your eligibility when determining how many employees you have.
Got it. I think the last question, we've talked a little bit about sort of landlord requirements, but as a tenant, so can you clarify, if you're a tenant and you'd like to apply for SBIF, what do you need to do in terms of dealing with your landlord to make sure you can go forward with the SBIF application?
Okay, so I would say the important thing that you would need to do is first reach out to them and see if you would be eligible to do any of the work that you're looking to do through SBIF, because we will, once you go through the process in the program, we will ask for landlord approval of those work items, just to make sure we have it on file and that your landlord is okay with you doing renovations to that space.
That's helpful clarification. I guess we did have one other question pop in here and asked, how many years is your application active? So like, let's say you apply and then you end up being put on the wait list. How long is that application good for?
In that situation, the wait list is good for 24 months from the time that the wait list was created. So you will definitely be informed either way once your application is placed on the wait list, if we're moving forward with your application, or if the wait list has expired and we're no longer able to move forward, but you can reapply when the district reopens.
Great. And I would just say, if we had somebody who just sent a note asking if they can, asking specifically if an area is open to apply, I would just, again, encourage them to send us an email. I'll put it back on the screen here really quick, SBIF@summercore.com. You can either send us an email and we can look up the address of the business, or you yourself can also use the SBIF locator tool, which is on our website, summercore.com/SBIF. And all you need to do is click one and use the SBIF locator tool. So that will be able to help you find out if your area is in a district and when it's going to open. All right, I think that's going to be it for our questions today. Thank you, everybody, for participating in the program. We look forward to seeing your applications. Again, as a reminder, you will be receiving an email with a copy of this presentation. Additionally, if you'd like to re-watch this webinar, it will be available on DPD's YouTube page. Thank you so much.